Hello. Hi, all. This is the live stream from Pacific Permaculture, How to Thrive in July 2020. I got inspired and I started another stream, but there was some background noise, so I stopped it and I'm restarting. So I'm just thinking, even if you haven't grown anything this year, I know it's late in the year for some of you, start growing something. Let's grow through this pandemic and this future probably economic downturn and all the craziness, and learn more about growing food, share your knowledge about growing food, share some of the products of your growing food. And of course, I didn't announce this anywhere really, so this is a surprise live stream. So only someone who looks over and sees that I'm on their list of subscribed channels and notices that I'm live will leave and show up here. But anyway, that's my thing. Grow and share food. We can get through all this stuff together, be it pandemic, be it economic downturn. Look, it doesn't have to be that you're growing food and you're shoulder to shoulder doing it. You can be 8 or 10 feet away from somebody else in the garden, and also you can just start cultivating the garden, get the plants growing, and then tell people, hey, when it's harvest time, just go pick at will type of thing. So that's kind of what's going on. Start a food forest today. I'll put my banner up here. I don't know the ultimate way for everybody to have excellent economics and all this, but I think that permaculture is a design system that also offers a path that you can look down and go, well, with permaculture, I can do this or I can do that. I could help somebody out if somebody else helps me. If we all help each other, we're going to do a lot better in this world. That's for sure. So let's all look for ways to help each other, encourage other channels, support other channels when we can. And maybe they'll support us back. If they don't, hey, we did the right thing. We just keep doing the right thing, doing good things. Extra food is not an issue. Okay. If you grow too much, there's no downside to that. Okay. If nobody will eat it, it becomes good compost, turns back into good soil. Okay. That's the thing. I just keep telling people there's no downside to having excess food. And anyway, that's my take on life. And what I use is one of my guiding books. Let me show you. Is this Permaculture, a Designer's Manual from Bill Mollison. And soon I will be having a 4-year giveaway, 4-year anniversary of my channel giveaway. And I will be giving away this wonderful book. And this is the tome of permaculture here. It's got how many pages? Like 300? No, it's 500. If you count all the index and everything, it's 576 pages. And then they got a couple pages for notes. I don't know, maybe you ran out of a tablet and you want to write some design notes in the back. But if you're a little bit into permaculture, this can really kickstart your permaculture journey. Okay, so that's the thing. I'm trying to encourage people to stick around. I'm going to have this giveaway. I've ordered the books. They haven't come in yet from Tagari Publishing in, I believe it's Australia. And I just realized I forgot to call something today. I was supposed to. 2 things. Uh-oh. Whoops. So, they talk about all different things, and I'm always trying to condense it down into things that are little and small, and I can tell people. One of the things is, if you can legally do it where you're at, try to harvest rainwater. Now you can do earthworks that help harvest the rainwater. You can put swales and things that slow the flow of the water so that you slow it and spread it and sink it into your soil and get things to grow even in a more arid place, I'm told. There's a guy named Brad Lancaster that's done a lot of this work. And he shows, I've seen videos of his place where it was just barren at first. And a few years later, with the earthworks slowing, spreading, and sinking the water, he has a lush area with a lot of produce going on, a lot of plants, human edible. And that's the thing. So the other thing is just to catch it in either like a cistern or a small tank. Any little bit is much healthier for your garden and your yard than the municipal water system with all its chlorine, sometimes it's chloramine, fluoride. There's things that keep the pipes from rusting that they put in there that makes you throw the iron out of your system. There's a lot of things in there. Okay, so the rainwater, that's kind of a purified thing, even though I know there's stuff in the air. But your rainwater is going to be your best bet for the yard as often as you can do it. And you want to make your yard solid where it's, what do I say? I was going to say sustainable, but it can withstand a lot even without a lot of watering. Now, when I garden in my half barrels, what I do is I adapt everything to 1 deep watering per week, and that's it. Now, if there's an extreme weather event, in other words, extreme heat, I will try to water midweek, so try to get a couple times that week just so things don't die out. But what I do is I produce really healthy plants in my half barrels and really good food. It seems like it draws more flavor and everything out of them by not watering as often. So, I don't have as much volume probably as somebody that waters more often, but that's the balance point. I err towards the side of using less water, so less input per output. Okay, now I could probably water more and have more output, but that's the choice I make, to have less input and potentially less output. But I'm also starting to grow more things around to moderate the temperature. So eventually the temperature, even with the heat from all the pavement, including my driveway and the roads that are around, that increases the temperature in your area, okay? Makes it more intense. So they call that the heat island effect, and that can affect the temperature by upwards of 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So as I put more plants around and build more of a shade corridor to shade more of that pavement, I'm reducing the effect of that, okay? So then the water doesn't evaporate as quick, the things grow better, with less water, and this kind of thing becomes its own positive cycle, virtuous cycle, you might call it. So these are things I'm trying to do. I'm thinking of maybe put some posts up and make like a shade area over my driveway, so when it gets really hot during the summer, I can put shade cloth up like an awning and just keep the heat off of there, because that affects how much water I need to water everything and keep everything thriving so well. So I'm looking at ideas like that. How can I use the minimum amount and get the maximum gain and utilize the heat, but also offset some of the heat, cool it down a little bit by shading some of the pavement? So these are the challenges I'm dealing with. And you know what? I don't want to sound like I'm being arrogant, because this is the first year I've grown a lot of things because I didn't have space to. So I'm just saying that, look, it's more flavorful, tasty. Start where you're at today. If you've never grown anything, find something you like. Do you like okra? Grow that. Do you like tomato? Grow a tomato plant. You can always take a cutting off of that, at least try to, and make a second plant. And then you got 2, you can share 1. Anything you do today as far as gardening, making yourself even just a little bit self-sufficient is going to pay off dividends over time. And I'm assuming you have a yard that you can grow, say, a fruit tree. That's one of your best investments. It might be $50, $60 for a fruit tree. When that starts producing, within a few years for sure, that'll be payback. You'll be back to zero. Okay. In other words, payback time is short. And then you have free fruit after that, as long as you keep it going. So there's ways, there's strategies, deal with your own environment, learn about your own climate, but then push the envelope a little bit. Okay, some book won't always tell you exactly what you can grow. You get an idea when you look at your climate zone. Now, I found out that I'm in 9B. So I can look whatever supposedly fits in 9B, but also there's other factors. Okay, like I said, the heat island effect, that's up to 15 more degrees Fahrenheit. But then I can offset that. Maybe it's in the shade of a little tree I have right there, a shade of a shed, or anything that kind of blocks the sun, reduces the heat a little bit, so there's variation. And maybe whoever it is that wrote that book just didn't know that you could grow this particular thing there where some other thing might not grow that they say doesn't, but maybe this is a thing that does. So therefore, I encourage everybody to learn a little bit about plant propagation. When you eat an apple, take the seeds. Try to grow an apple tree. If you eat a plum, save the pit. Maybe you can grow a plum tree out of it. And it'll take time, but the best thing is if you grow that up as a rootstock and then you get a branch from a grown plum tree and you graft it onto that plum seedling, or same thing with the apple or an orange tree, because it cuts the amount of time required to get produce off the tree. Okay, so these types of things, I'm not telling everybody spend a lot of money on trees and vegetable plants and all this. Do the least cost. Look for a seed saving library in your area. I know in California what's happened is, I don't know if it's California wide, but in a couple counties here for sure, they have seed saving libraries within the public library system. So it's a little space with little shelves and drawers where people put well-labeled dry seed that's been saved from their garden. You go and you get some seed and you grow your garden and you save some. There's a criteria, a method, but you dry it out, everything, and save it again and bring some back. So meanwhile, you kind of got free seed that's adapted closer to your area. Over a few years, you have really well adapted seed. Okay, because the things that aren't adapted won't do so good, right? So you have really well locally adapted seed and you get into it. It's usually free to join the seed library, or $5, something really inexpensive compared to what you get out of it. And not only that, sometimes they have little classes talking about seed saving and growing things. You get around other gardeners, you get some of their wisdom and that type of thing. So I'm just saying, start off where you're at. If you don't have a lot of money to put into gardening, don't put a lot of money in. If you eat onion and you want to grow onion, easy. Save the root part and try to grow an onion out of it. See what happens. What do you have to lose? You're going to throw that part out anyway. Or like I have some sweet potatoes that are starting to sprout. Okay, so I'm going to try to grow some sweet potato out of that. Anything you can do to try to start a food forest or just grow some new plants in the yard that you can eat off of is going to make you healthier. And that's the thing. If you're healthier, it's not a direct link, but healthier generally saves you money, okay, that you would be paying for medical treatment or whatever. So that's the thing. I was hoping somebody might show up on my surprise live stream, but that's okay. If you come across this in the replay, just watch it. It's only going to be about 18 minutes, I think, on this one. And hopefully you get some inspiration out of this. I didn't have a big, long planned out thing. I just thought, well, we're celebrating Independence Day in the United States this weekend, and here's how you can be independent of even the system that we live within and under and around everything here is grow some of your own food. The more food you grow, the more independence you have. Okay, so I'd like to wish everybody a happy Independence Day and peace and permaculture.